everyone and welcome back to We'll Tell You When You're Older. I'm Maddie.
I'm Holly.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Lana.
Right, so we're back, another episode, new topics. So much has happened. It feels like constantly so much is happening. First of all, I think like one of the biggest things ever is that Labour has won the general elections.
Oh yeah, that was the biggest thing like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, but you know what, we're a bit late on the news, well, at least speaking about it, but the important thing is that we are speaking about it, and I feel like it is such a huge change considering Conservatives have been ruling for 14 years. Ruling, I mean, let's be honest, at that point you could say they've been ruling for 14 years, and now we've got someone new. Yeah. And it's exciting but scary. How do you feel about that? Are we happy that Labour won?
I'm cautiously optimistic because I really hope Labour are going to be a lot better than the Conservatives. But when I think about it, I'm like, are they going to be that different? Are they going to be that... Like, Labour have been moving towards the right for like years and years now. And it seems that they're just going to be a slightly nicer version of the Conservatives. Just like not as crazy and slightly more competent.
I'll apologise after kicking you.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'd rather they just didn't kick me, I'll be honest.
Exactly.
That's a lot to ask.
One can try. Holly, what about you? I mean, this is quite literally, you know, a change of your future. Especially because you weren't allowed to vote. So, like, how do you feel? Do you feel happy with that result?
As far as I'm aware, I don't have to do what Rishi Sunak asked us to do when we turned 16, so I'm fine.
No national service.
No national service.
So,
You've...
Happy about that.
For a very vast majority of your life, you've only known, since you were conscious, it's only been Conservative government.
yeah.
That's crazy.
That's actually quite scary.
It's all going to change.
I remember when Tony Blair was in power because they made fun of him on Diddy, Dick and Don on CBBC. They had these little puppets and they just kept calling him Tony Blair. And that's all I remember about Tony Blair. It was on CBBC.
So for young people, it's very much like I was born and raised in the dark ages of Conservative.
Yeah, to be fair, now that I think about it, because I moved here in 2008, all I've known is a Conservative.
That's when I was born.
Oh my god! I'm just like that, I feel. But yeah, so it is a very, very strange thing that it's actually Labour who's in power right now. And I'm really interested to see like what they're gonna do differently or what they're gonna do the same, hopefully not a lot. Yeah, it's just, I feel like at the moment there's been obviously a lot of news about Labour, like taking over 10 Downing Street, but at the same time I feel like there hasn't been a lot of news because, you know, we've had the general elections, they won, and now they're on summer holidays.
But there's also no leaks going on, which is interesting.
Yeah.
There have been leaks going on from the shadow cabinet about Kemi Badenoch talking badly about Suella Braverman. I can't remember exactly what she said and I don't want to get it wrong, but she said something inflammatory about Suella Braverman.
Is it your like drama-loving brain that possibly keep up with politics?
That's why I love politics. Labour seems pretty sealed tight at the moment.
Yeah.
Everything's press released and prepared and ready. And
Yeah, they've got those scripts.
Keir Starmer has just been on one. Like, he has not slept. Like, he's just here, there and everywhere. He's in the NATO summit and then he's meeting someone in Italy and then he's in Wales with Vaughan Gething. Bye-bye.
Well, I suppose we'll kind of hear more about it in September when they're kind of back from their summer holidays.
Yeah.
Well, funny enough about summer holidays, because it's summer holidays right now, not just for Labour, not just for the government, it's the kids, for anyone who's either in education or further education. Yeah, it just feels so strange considering everyone's going to be working.
Yeah, there's barely a difference, it feels like a lot of the time, between your time spent in college during the active school year. And like the transition from that to the summer holidays is extremely smooth because it doesn't feel like much of a change. Mine ended on the 20th of June and we went into summer holidays then, giving us 10 weeks of summer. But those aren't 10 weeks of relaxing, they're 10 weeks of you being expected to like read things, to catch up on things, to do this, to do that, all for your classes, even though this is supposed to be your rest time. This is when you're not in class and you're not supposed to worry about college.
What is it like for you, Holly, with the summer holidays? Are you expected to do any like summer homework?
I'm expected to catch up on all my classes, do tons of homework, and then when I get back, if I'm behind on anything, I've got to do after school sessions.
So not only are you supposed to spend your summer holidays not holidaying, but instead if you don't finish your work, then you've got to do after school hours.
I feel the pain of that. In my college, all the teachers stay super late, and especially for like music. Back when I was still doing my composition coursework, I had like several days in a row where I was staying until 6:30. You try and leave, and the teachers are like, "Where are you going? I can help you with your composition."
What about you, Holly? Did your summer holidays also start in June or just now?
Literally just now.
It's just such a strange concept because obviously summer holidays are supposed to be that period of time where, as we said, you kind of relax and you recharge and you do prepare for the new school year, but not by sitting at your desk doing homework or research or reading. I mean, this is supposed to be an opportunity to spend time with your friends, spend time with your family, maybe go abroad if your parents like to spoil you. Not do homework. I mean, the impact that must have on mental health for a lot of young people to, sit at home and just stress over will they finish all of that work in time for the new school year, or will they be doing more sessions after school when they get back?
I remember letting loose and going wild in the streets of Penang.
Well, especially in A levels, it's a problem that compounds itself year after year because students work hard to get good grades, and that causes grade inflation. And then, like, people will fearmonger about it, like, oh, the grades are becoming meaningless. We have to give them more work. We have to make it harder for them. And so they do that, but then the students respond to it by working even harder and continuing to get good grades. So then, year after year, this continues, and they add more and more material to the point that we don't even have time in the school year, in the academic year, to get through it all, and we're expected to do a lot of it in our free time.
I've read so much about this over the last few years about the balance of, schoolwork for young people, but also other responsibilities and the needs and wants. Where you've got, you're in school for, say, 8 hours a day. Then you might have, extra activities in school. You might be part of the choir or
Exactly.
the drama club or anything like that. Then you got to get back home. You got to do your homework. You've got to do your chores. You've got to do whatever your responsibilities are at home. But then you also need to have to factor in time to, hang out with friends and have a bit of a social life. And then you might be supporting your parents, or you might be going to visit your grandparents or
Exactly.
something like that. And then you've got to get like 9 hours of sleep.
It's like they assume that you don't have anything else going on other than school.
Yeah.
Like they assume that you don't do anything. They assume that you don't, sometimes volunteer with the podcast.
Welshback does insist that you do volunteer.
Yeah.
For how many hours? Is it 40?
15.
Oh gosh.
I think it is. It might be 5. I'm not sure. 5 or 15.
5 in GCSE. I remember it being a
Okay.
bit more in A level.
Mm-hmm.
Holly, do you feel like you agree with that? Do you feel like you've got enough time during the day to get everything that you want done?
No. My friends stopped asking me to go out because I struggle to get everything done in a day. And since I've started saying no, I'm going to take time for myself, I started going out with my friends more, and I've seen the impact that it's actually had on my mental health, how much has actually helped.
Yeah, to kind of just take that step back and take some time for yourself instead of someone else. Just crazy the amount of pressure that is currently being put on young people, only for a lot of people to then go, oh, but you're young, you have nothing to stress over. And it's like,
They're thinking about how it was when they were young, and they didn't have anything to stress over, but we do.
just, I wonder, how all of that is going to be affected now as well with the new government, with the educational fundings and everything, with the support, are things going to remain the same? Are things going to get worse? Are they going to improve? And especially because we're in Wales, so it's not, just dependent on the British government, but also on the Senate
Yeah.
It's very much dependent on fundings and stuff like that.
The
so-
Senate is generally progressive though. They don't have much power, but they use the power they do have to generally improve
Yeah.
things. Like they can, with the price of going to uni, it's capped at like 9,250 for the rest of the country and 9,000 for Wales.
Holly's just taking notes under the table going, this is how much money I have to save to go to uni.
Yeah, it's just a graduate tax. It's fine.
And that awful hat.
But speaking of all of that, and of what changes might come to be with the new government, with Labour, it also makes me think of the changes that might be potentially coming ahead to the US, because we've had our general elections, they're about to have theirs, and about in 4 months, but about. And there's already been so much going on in that regard. I'm like losing my mind. How do we feel about it? Well, not all at once.
It's just dull. I hate hearing about America. I know a lot about American politics because I did politics A-level, and you do an entire year on American politics, and it's just yap, endless yap. I don't like the American political commentators very much. I find them quite patronising.
They talk like sports commentators,
Yeah,
but also like nursery teachers.
yeah,
Like combine those two energies, and that's what you get.
yeah, really quickly chiding you for not shutting the door on your way out. Like, it's just weird. And then Joe Biden's heavy reluctance to exit, and then going, actually, I guess, like, the Lord
Yeah, I guess
Almighty
okay.
would have to come down to convince me to drop out of this race. And
But then
a week
Obama
later
asked him,
going,
and that's like the same thing.
yeah, true, yeah, fair. And a week later he goes, actually, after some reflections,
I'm gonna go.
He started taking his meds again, and he was like,
For me, I feel like the US politics is kind of like a mix between a soap opera and reality TV, where it's just so dramatic. It makes me think of like EastEnders or Hollyoaks, where it's just like new episodes and it's like, I mean, you've
I
got
don't know if this is the audience to talk about EastEnders and Hollyoaks.
it's just like you've got Joe Biden stepping down and him being very adamant about not supporting, Kamala.
Yes, supporting Kamala. He is supporting.
He is now supporting Kamala, but initially he didn't want to support Kamala.
isn't it Kamala?
Kamala? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it wrong, I apologise. Initially he didn't want to support her. Now he is supporting her. She's got until next month to get enough support from the delegates in order
She
to
went typical.
to remain a nominee. There's been all this talk about like the donations and everything going
What
towards that.
donations?
Well, I was reading up on it today, so I don't have like all the details, but from the statistics they've raised like $47 million
Yeah.
in like donations. I think it's towards
The campaign.
the campaign and everything,
Yeah.
which I'm just thinking like, wow, you can do that in a couple of hours.
They
That's-
got more. It was their biggest donation day since 2020.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's just American politics is where you get texts from politicians in America going, please give me money.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah,
give me
it's just
money.
like, it's such a scary amount.
Please save me.
Yeah.
Save me.
And the time they spend leading up to the election on the campaign trail is insane. Like it's literally like the year and a half before the election they're asking people to vote for them.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, there are still, I believe, 4 months to go. I think it's in
November.
November that the elections are actually happening, and yeah, that's kind of all you hear, even in the British news. It's just that being talked about in the news everywhere, and
Well, because American politics affects the rest of the world.
yeah,
Yeah,
very true, very true.
America coughs and the world catches a cough.
It's just, Yeah.
I've always found it troublesome that it's such a massive country with one head. Like, you know, it's...
I mean, they do have like the 50 governors and all the state stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, if
Yeah.
we've devolved Wales, how has Texas not gone independent? Like,
Yeah, each state is big enough to be its own country, basically.
Yeah, having some head of state that's...
Speaking of the states, it's really weird how in America, the way they talk about getting the votes they need, it's like most of the states are already decided. Everyone knows exactly how they're going to vote. You don't even need to ask for their votes.
Yeah.
And then there are like 5 swing states. They're just like, they're that small handful, and they're like the important ones.
I feel like it's kind of like when you go on a school trip and your teacher tells you that you've got to be back by a certain time, otherwise the bus is leaving. Majority of the class turns up ready to get on the bus and go home, but you have these like 5 pupils who are off somewhere with the teacher just waiting for them, going, we can't actually leave without them.
Yeah.
Like, there's a good chance that Kamala's vice president pick is going to be, I think his name was Josh Shapiro, who was like a big guy in Pennsylvania politics, just to secure Pennsylvania.
Holly, you were going to say something.
That happened in my school. We went to a park, I think it was Thorpe Park, and I didn't end up going, but afterwards some of my friends said that the teachers ended up leaving 2 students there. Obviously they had to go back, but...
I think if you get left there, embrace the opportunity, you've got freedom now.
Exactly.
Oh, it's got stranded.
I mean, I feel like the teachers have some responsibility for the pupils' safety. Show me a difference between a school trip and US politics.
Getting Josh Shapiro as the vice president pick is like getting one of the kids' dad to call after them.
I think there's more hope for the Democrats now that Biden's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely tell that he was struggling. I think a lot of people have made that comment of like seeing him on TV and him being viewed as this like elderly person who should be sitting in a very comfortable armchair with like a cup of tea and just resting, because you could just tell in a physical aspect he was struggling.
The surprising thing about Biden is you can see clips of him talking in like 2016 and he was completely lucid, like completely fine.
Yeah.
The mental decline was very sudden. Like you can tell that I think it was like after the 2022 midterms, basically from that point onwards, he never spoke in front of a crowd without a teleprompter and never got interviewed without it being heavily scripted.
Yeah.
Like from that point, I think it was like the writing was on the wall that he had such mental decline that letting him speak freely in front of people would just like hemorrhage votes.
Yeah, I think that, stepping down was a really good thing for him. I think it will be good for his well-being. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's just, I'm kind of ready for it to just be, it's never going to be over, for it to be over, because I think over the last few weeks/months, it's just been politics and politics and politics, and I'm like, every time I refresh my browser, there is an article about politics, and I'm just like, I don't know, it's just like, why can't the news outlets talk about, what's the newest
They do
ice
at 6
cream
o'clock in the morning.
Well, no, I want them to be talking about it at 6 o'clock in the evening.
No, I remember in COVID I was waking up really early because I was on top of things, I was making the most out of my lockdown by not sleeping until 7 o'clock in the morning. So I remember watching the 6 a.m. news, and their fun story, and they just always really riled me up. They made me really mad. There was some man who was like, I got swallowed by a whale, and I thought I was going to die, and I thought you didn't get swallowed by a whale. A whale put you in its mouth and then went, bleh. And he was like, I had this thought that I was thinking about my family, and I thought, no, you weren't. You were thinking, oh my god, I'm going to be swallowed by a whale.
Yeah.
Definitely.
There is no way you were thinking about your family. You were going, teeth.
It's total screaming.
Yeah, so
You
I've
go,
got problems with light-hearted stories on the news.
To be fair, I just think, simply put, we should replace all the news about politics with all the news of the amazing activities that Power Up, our platform, is doing throughout the summer holidays.
Smooth.
Well, I gotta get it in there. I'm cheeky that way. It's free advertising, so I'll take it. We've got so many activities going on. It's a lot more fun to talk about paddleboarding than it is about US elections. I'm sorry. It's a
When you cast your vote for president in November, just make sure you vote for Maddie.
Yeah, vote for the president that likes paddleboarding, not the other thing.
Just make it fun, isn't it? Yeah, I guess we don't really have to worry about the results of anything until November now, and probably by then we'll also find out what Labour is going to do to this country. Right, well, everyone, this is it for today. Thank you so much for tuning into our episode, and we look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care, everyone. Bye!
Bye.